Hello, everyone. It is Kenny here. It is Basketball Rewind, and I am here because I said that I would be here, and I just have to put the good old social media posts out there, of course. But while I am in the midst of doing that, I'm just going to kind of give you a bit of a preamble for what I'm going to be discussing today, and kind of go from there. First things first, the Raptors season. You know, it wrapped up. It wrapped up not in the best of fashion, of course, but that is okay. We're here. We're going to be talking about the Raptors, of course. We're going to be talking. I'm going to give you seven. There were 7 games. I'll give you 7 thoughts, and then we're going to kind of meander our way through some other Raptors news, some Raptor adjacent news, and then we're going to finish off talking about the playoffs. Because the Raptors adjacent news is kind of interesting, of course. So give me one quick second. I just want to make sure that the sound is good and everyone can hear me. And we will go from there. But I am also curious how people themselves thought about the overall series. But the Raptors lost Game 7. I think I did give a post, and I was here after Game 7. But again, the Raptors lost Game 7, 114 to 102. And that game was over pretty early on, in my opinion. Sadly, um, yeah, like the Raptors just did not, even when they were quote unquote in that game, um, they didn't really feel like they were ever really remotely in control. It always felt like they were one step behind, and it was finally the game where it was like, okay, the Cavs from the beginning of the series, I always felt like they were the more talented team, and they kind of showed it there. Offensively, it was really, really difficult. I believe, and I'm going to look these numbers up as I'm talking right here, but the Raptors usually were out rebounded with the Cavs for the previous 2 games getting, I think, 60 to 65 rebounds. This game was another one where they got 60 rebounds, but the Raptors weren't able to get their usual 45-ish rebounds. Instead, the Raptors had 33 rebounds. So essentially, you had a team that was double you in rebounding, and that, even though ironically throughout the series it was a bit back and forth, and there were games that the Raptors were out rebounded and yet controlled the points in the paint, you're giving them 23 to 8 second chance points, and that right there spells it, and you're not able to get it going in the fast break. The fast break, of course, for the Raptors, which is a form of offense that they really, really heavily rely on, and that kind of right there spelt the game, and ended the series in some ways very early. I mean, I felt like by the time they got to the third quarter, in my opinion, um, even leading into the second, I mean, Donovan Mitchell started getting going, just so that people remember, and he was kind of feeling it a little bit, down the stretch of that second quarter to end the quarter to get them basically to tied. And then once the third quarter started, I just said, like, this feels like the wheels are coming off. It didn't necessarily feel like the team like stunk or anything like that, but they just were completely outclassed and outmatched in that one, and it finally kind of came through and was a little bit more illuminating there on that front. So yeah. So of course the Raptor season is done, and once I've just posted these things, I've usually I post them before, but that's okay. Um, the interesting thing is that the Raptors ended the playoffs with some interesting stats. I'm going to talk about one of the stats right here, and that would be the points per game of points off of turnovers. And the Raptors in the playoffs were basically tied, uh, maybe potentially edged out one team, and that would be OKC, and they led the pack. And that's a really interesting feat because it really shows that they really were able to ramp up their defense. Now, the Cavs offensively, for whatever reason, even though they have the firepower going for them, they're stalling out oftentimes in games, and we see that even in the second round against their opponents right now, the Pistons, where there's times where that offense looks very disjointed with James Harden. Even and sloppy. Even in that game right there, it just felt like the Cavs obviously ended off the game and they were like, thumping their chest and all this type of stuff. But they started off things not really, like they kind of felt their way through that game. In some ways, they felt their way through the series too, and of course, kind of caught up to them. But in that game, you could see that like once they got it, and they didn't really look back. Um, so here are my 7 thoughts for the 7 games of the series, of course. So let's just get into it. I wrote these things down. So this is in no particular news order. Sorry. Thing one. Some of these are takeaways. Some of these are observations. I think getting a long term doesn't have to be through the draft. Doesn't have to be through you know doesn't have to be through trade, but they need to look to find some sort of long term front court replacement for Yak long term. So what that means is that it could be someone that they bring up through the prospect wings or whatever, and you slowly integrate that person. If it was Maxime Reynaud from last year, that would have been perfect. Where you're looking to trade off Yak, but trade off of him not right away. Because right now, if you were to replace that spot, you're replacing him. You're still going to be short a front court player in a sense because you need to find ways to get up to 48 minutes of competent, really good play. So I think Yak is probably here to stay. But yeah, so that's the first thing. But they do need that replacement. The second thing is Darko. Darko showed me that he actually can learn, and he improved as a coach within the series because he was forced to improve. I can't give him that much flack when he did his job and he adjusted. And as the series went on, it was like, okay, I'm not necessarily saying that he's outmatching Kenny, but he is starting to maximize his players in a particular way that is indicative that he's learning, which is good. Number 3, Shed is an NBA player without question. There were times during the season, and Jacoby too. There were times during the season where especially Shed had a rocky periods of time, and you kind of just worried. You're like, okay, this is not going down the right path here. And eventually, he was able to kind of figure out, and he was kind of a steady force of sorts in this series. I mean, end of the day, I mean, I still think that as a starting level point guard, he has some deficiencies, but as a bench piece, it would be great. So yeah. Now, all that is to say, the next point, which is there is a need for a point guard, and there remains the need for better guard play. Now, you can go with Scottie for periods of time, but even then, like there were times, even in that final game, where he's getting the ball stripped when they start to apply pressure with him bringing the ball up the court and stuff like that. So he can do the point guard thing in spurts, but there are limitations to that, and you really do want a second ball handler on the court at all times if you have the talent for it. Another point, perfect segue to this. Barnes showed what he's capable of, but not only did he show what he's capable of, he showed that when he showed what it looks like when he plays with consistent aggression. He hasn't always played with consistency or aggression, and the fact that he did, I think that deserves major respect, props. But also, it's like this is what I've been asking for. This is what I want to see. This is what's up. Let's see this more often. Um, so yeah, I mean that's there's defensively he was everywhere in this series. He was incredible. I think between him and CMB, who deserves a ton of props, which is going to actually be one of my next points in a second. But those two together created some special moments in terms of their ability to do defense into transition offense and feed off one another. And I think I'm going to skip a point, go to that point next. CMB established himself in this series, honestly, in a really special way. And as a rookie, he had some moments where it's like he's leading the league for field goal percentage, for efficiency, for PER, for a lot of different things. And I think that those who were worried about him now understand why I said he's a winning player. I'm not trying to overhype him. I'm not going to overhype him, but I think CMB is an important player in the series. There were times when he was probably um, overall, like at times, the second most important player on the court in terms of driving winning and on both ends of the ball. But we also saw the limitations in the final game when you have to have him up against Allen or someone who's bigger and they ramp up their physicality. It also demonstrated that he should not be playing the center long term. But I think he's also earned his right to play. He's earned his right to next year. He should be starting. That should be the goal of the roster. It's like if him and Scottie, those are your core for now. Find a third piece. That's great, but then you need to find a way to make sure that he is playing. This year, I said at least 20 to 25 minutes. Next year, it should be at least 32. That's the reality. And I'll get to the BI point in a second. I'm going to go to my second last point, which is that RJ got major respect, he got major love too, and and deservedly so. He showed up. I said before the series, hey, RJ, I expect him to show up for sure in that series, but realistically, the way that he was aggressive and he never stopped. And you could see the passion in it, like, and the way that they just grew as a team. It was really fun to see, but it's also fun to see him get his moment. And again, like from an offensive standpoint, you knew that he is not afraid of the moment. He is there for it. So yeah. The final point is BI. Again, I'm not like a hyper BI fan, but I expected more from him, and he really let I think a lot of people down, including himself. When you come out of a game and you're like, "Oh man, look, I just didn't play well because, I didn't get enough shots and stuff like that." And then the next game, you get the shots. Yeah, you have like 20 something shots, and you're hitting on four of them. That's embarrassing, bro. Like that's extremely sad and disappointing. And I mean, you could rag on it forever. He did have moments where he was drawing in gravity and double teams and whatnot, which opened it up for other guys. But ultimately, he needs to be able to produce if you're going to be one of those top tier guys, and you shouldn't be complaining and putting it on other people when clearly you're making mistakes, whether it be because you're not used to playing this late in a season or what. You are a multiple year vet at this point. So, yeah, expect better. Um, and so I think one of the looming questions, and we're going to kind of like answer this on Basketball Rewind slowly over time, in over the course of the summer, and even listening to Bobby's presser, they're very non-committal on RJ because I think that they realize that they probably want to sign RJ to an extension, or maybe not an extension, but I think long term. But the challenge is that it's hard to get rid of other guys that you may want to get rid of. Say you're not as attached to Brandon Ingram. Well, the problem is that RJ's more easier to move contract, and it's easier to move for the long term for you to get something. So that might have to be the answer. But yeah, let's get into some quick Raptors rumors and news and stuff like that, and then we'll talk about the playoffs, and then we'll get out of here because I did not plan on doing a super long stream, but just wanted to cover some stuff because I haven't been here for most of this week, and I do want to start being here for most of the playoffs. So you should be expecting me here, if not tomorrow, then the next day. But yeah, okay. So Grady rumors. This came out in multiple ways, but essentially from one of the Grange articles as well. Like Grady seems to have some level of value as a second draft guy, in my opinion. But I think the key thing with Grady is that they did try to deal him. It does look like the Raptors are confirming that they were in the mix for Triple J. It seems like the Pirtle contract held them back, which is kind of what I outlined. you know, it held them back in many ways from what they want to do. The way that Bobby was talking about this team doesn't really sound like he's like basically he's like, yeah, it was good. I'm happy, but you don't want to rest on your laurels. And I like that mentality if it is seen through. Like again, he was asked about guys like Garrett Temple, and he was like, you know what, like there's 15 spots on a roster, so we'll have to see. And that is the correct standpoint. Like we're now growing as a team, and we don't need to be doing Congo lines. We need to be serious. So yeah, but the other news from a Raptor standpoint would be the BI injury news. So BI got surgery on his heel today in New York. And they basically the major update is that they kind of expect him. Um, it just says for special surgery. It doesn't say what the surgery is, so it's hard for me to give some sort of a feedback on what it could be, how long the timelines usually are in that case. Um, Someone called it bone spurs. I don't think it is bone spurs. Sorry, I'm cracking up at that. That's a little wild. Uh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's not bone spurs, but um, whatever it is, um, sorry. Whatever it is, I would just say that, um, according to the report, they said that he is expected to be fully recovered and ready for training camp in September. So that's tough. That is tough because then that's a whole season where you'd want him to work on his handle, on his game, and whatnot. And sadly, he's not going to be able to do that. He's really not going to be able to do that. So it puts him in a tough spot from that standpoint. But we will see what happens. All right. With that being said, enough of the Raptors. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's talk about these new series that we kind of gave a little bit of a preview the last time, but now it's time to really tap into some of these series. So let's really just get into it and let's just go through it. Right now, the Spurs are playing the T Wolves. I'm gonna get to that in just a second because it's a current game that's currently going. We're gonna talk about the Cavs who just beat the Raptors and the Pistons first. The Pistons in the first game because I watched I need to. I've been watching the games, but I've been watching them after. So they're up to nothing. That's first and foremost. I believe in the last game, from what I remember, there were these three key. I might be mixing up the games now, but there was three key Cade to Duran slams, and it was like whoa, like that turned it for the Pistons, and they didn't look back. I think that might have been in game one. In game two, the Pistons again just kind of it felt like they've just been in control of this series. Let's talk about game two right now. The Pistons basically won the first two quarters. Cleveland hit back with a 32 to 25 quarter, and then the Pistons just kind of took it from there and took control. What you're noticing, so if you compare it to the Raptors, in terms of defense, they have a wing defender in Asar Thompson. He's a very different wing defender than what we have because he has way more agility in terms of those chase down blocks and chasing guys around the perimeter. That it's like between CMB, Asar, and Scottie, like those are all that's all defense right there, right? Like maybe not CMB this year, but CMB next year will probably be all defense. And if not, he will be it the next year because he is that good defensively. And that was on full display. But here it's like, yeah, I on the flip side, man, I think there's a stat where James Harden's the first player in like I can't tell since when, but it's like for a long time, if not potentially ever, where on drives against him, the opposing team is scoring 7 of 7. I mean, I the only thing that they really have is maybe letting Dennis Schroeder cook against Cade because Donovan Mitchell doesn't really attack Cade like that in the same way, and the Pistons know that they're trying to chase. It's just a different matchup, right? So that is when Harden is not there or or if since Harden's not really doing well, it's going to be more on Dennis Schroeder to be aggressive. But Dennis Schroeder, too much Dennis is not a good Dennis. We'll put it that way. Raptors fans will know what I mean. It's too much is not a good thing. On the flip side, you're seeing like Tobias Harris just string together these really efficient, really good, really solid, competent games. Putting up like 21 and 7 with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Right. You have Duran. Duran is not necessarily going crazy from an offensive standpoint, although in the last game he was better, but he's not like putting up like 25, 30 points, but it's just like that consistency throughout the game to give them like the rebounding, to give them consistency, and to give a good lob threat for Cade. It makes a big difference, especially when you have the rebounding. And then Cade, I mean, he was getting attacked a little bit by Dennis Schroeder in the first game, second game less so, but still. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like this guy is a net positive on the court, and he's a playoff performer. He's a playoff riser. He's getting to the line 8 times a night at times. He was 7 of 14, 3 of 6 at light work. And he was 25, 10 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He's kind of doing it all for the Pistons, and he's leading them. In the first game, I know Rondae Holland, not Hollis Jefferson, Rondae, sorry, Ron Holland um, ended up having like a buzzer beater near the end, so that was fun. But yeah, I mean the Pistons have kind of found their kind of rhythm, so to speak, with Dennis Jenkins kind of playing that really nice 6-man role for them and being very aggressive on his end. And as long as they keep up that aggression, I don't see a reason why this series against the Cavs should go more than maybe 5 games. I'm going to be nice and generous and say that the Cavs get one. I do not think that if the Raptors made it, that they would have stood a good chance. But I think we would have gotten a game or maybe a game. The Pistons just play far more physical than the Cavs, and between us and the Cavs, we were probably the more physical team when we adjusted. But the Pistons are way more physical than us. They are a force is probably the best way to describe it. So yeah. Uh I'm gonna bounce to the West now because I think that's kind of picked over. I don't really have much to say about the series. That would be OKC versus the Lakers. I mean, Lakers had a really fun run. The Lakers are injured, but ultimately OKC is this good. So like their last game was like 125 to 107. The first game was 108 to 90. Yeah, I get it that the Lakers want to complain about the reffing and stuff like that. Sure, at the same time, I'm sorry, but you're just getting out. You're just getting slapped up in this series. Like this is just not. The Thunder beat them with assist, rebounding, probably points in the paint, probably things. Chet showing up actually in a major way as a second tier guy. They're showing out, and I kind of have them either, if not sweeping, a gentleman sweep. I think I originally said it would be a gentleman sweep. I mean, when you have Jared McCain coming off your bench as like a third string guy, like, and he's doing 7 of 11 for 18 points, 4 of 5. Like, it's like, man, I wish the Raptors got that guy. By the way, as just a side note, but my goodness, like that's their third string point guard. You know, uh, yeah, it's just not much to do when Shea Gilgeous-Alexander only has to play 27 minutes a night, and it's light work, real light work. Um, so I'm just not really worried. I mean, I'll be honest, I do have them, and I did have them going back to back. I think that they're talented enough and financially in such a good place they could probably go back to back to back, but we got to take it 1 year at a time. And right now they're on a mission, and we will see where that mission takes them. But they're 2-0 in that series. I don't really want to go and elaborate too much more with that, but yeah. Moving along back to the East, final bracket of the East, which would be the New York Knickerbockers. They are beating up on the 76ers. Now, I will add something, and that game starts tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. I think I I was hopeful coming into this series that Nick Nurse would have a healthy or Embiid, but it's tough. Um, and Brunson is doing a good job of actually distributing the ball in a really, really good way. Better than I think. So maybe he learned his lesson, is kind of where I'm kind of going with that. But they're also just, frankly, they're out rebounding the 76ers um, by quite the margin. I mean, just in the last game, and to be fair, OG got injured, so OG's down. But even with that, they still beat them 108-94. It's just you need everyone healthy. Now Embiid's doing what he can. He's giving you as positive minutes as he can, but you're still losing. I do think VJ, he is a rookie, but he does need to step up a little bit here. Um, and their bench outside of Quentin Grimes, Drummond is not really. It's like whatever. They need to in the future consider consolidating some of these bench guys and making upgrades because they have a really good starting lineup if everyone's healthy. But you need some more depth and better depth that is functional. So yeah. Um, but yeah, Max is showing out. He's doing his thing. And I do expect that the 76ers, I still think it'll go like 6 games somehow. I do expect the 76ers to like win their next game. And maybe they all right, maybe they can push it to game 6, but I think that the Knicks have the series, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a gentleman's sweep. But we will see. They might also get swept. They're just outclassed with the depth of the Knicks, but the Knicks are missing their best defender in OG, the best one-on-one defender at least, and the Knicks are also. Um, Let me put it this way: OG is extremely good as a shooter when he is a third or fourth option. And that's what makes it special is that when you have a fourth option that is producing like a third option and at times a second option on that team, you're getting a lot. Now, again, once again, Cat is probably not getting the ball quite enough, but Embiid is that he is that good. I mean, people like to clown on him, but Embiid is actually that good. But yeah. All right, last series. We're just flying through the series as much as possible because it is late. And also, I don't want to keep people for too long. I don't know who's watching this. Like, comment, and subscribe, people, if you are watching this indeed. Now, Ant-Man came back. He tied up the series after the Spurs lost the first game. They came back, and it was like the Empire Strikes Back with Hoth, where they like basically almost blew up the damn planet. It was crazy. They at one point, like you call like B to A and belt to blank, right? uh I've just never seen a whooping like that live like that before. I think Wemby had a triple double that game, 12 blocks, 11 rebounds. Can't remember how many points. It wasn't like crazy amount of points, but yeah, like I think it was like 10, 11 points. But the crazy thing about that is it was like at one point I looked at the score and it was like 50 to or no, it was like 45 to 90. They doubled them in points. It just looked like a video game score where someone's controller was unplugged. I've never seen that before. And I ultimately think like the it's a 1-1 series. Spurs are ahead in this game. I don't care who wins this game. It's 86-79 at as of the time that I'm talking right now. I think the Spurs are just going to win the series. They're just a very deep and good team, and I really do think that they will have the best series of the playoffs from overall might be yet to come, and that's probably going to be the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals are going to be really good series. Um, I think that the Spurs think that they can beat the Thunder. I don't think that they can, but I think that they're going to come pretty damn close to it and probably a lot closer than an Eastern Conference team will. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think that covers it all. Right now, I'm just going to give a score update. So I did say the scoring 86-79. It is in the third quarter. Um, Devin Vassell last game had like literally an anime style three where he grabbed the ball in the midair and just like let it fly. It was crazy. Um, De'Aaron Fox, he's been okay in the series. Right now, he's 6 of 16 for the night, so not great, but he's been okay in the series. Dylan Harper is having an off game, but the last game he was really, really good, and he's had some really good games overall. But Stephen Castle, he had this one drive where he got like hit in the middle of the drive. He lost the ball, fumbled it, and then came back and popped it up like with one arm. It was and it went down like super athletic play, super impressive, super great. That's exactly what you want to see. Whoops. Oh, hey coach, nice to see you. Um, I'm gonna assume that it's too late for you to hop in, so but yeah, I'm not staying for too long. I'm just kind of covering all this series and making sure that Basketball Rewind covers it all. Randall in this game, he did slam it down on Wemby, but he's only 1 of 8, so not great, not great. He's kind of not really able to show up. But Ant Man is doing his best to keep the Timberwolves in it, and they won't quit. Um, oh, you can hop on. Great, coach. Don't worry, I'm not gonna stay for too long, but yeah. Just gonna send this over to you, coach. But yeah. Okay, sorry about that, people. um yeah, but yeah, so I think the Wolves are good enough that they will figure out a way to win a game, maybe two. I think Ant-Man's that good, but ultimately they will fall. This is where I have him. So we'll see how long it takes for Coach to get here, and I'll get his thoughts, and then we will get out of here. Also, I want to add that in some Toronto adjacent news, the Tempo. It's the WNBA's 30th season, so it's a special season. Anytime you hit a decade longer in doing something in a league or whatever, it's a special time. But yeah, the Toronto Tempo tips off their game tonight. They debut officially. I actually went to one of the preseason games, so that was a lot of fun. Actually, a ton of fun, and it was a good experience. I recommend people try to check them out. Kiki looked pretty good in the preseason, but she does need to be a little bit more confident in her drives and knowing how to balance both giving the ball to others as well as taking her own offense. She struggles with knowing when to get her own offense. But yeah, Masai got hired, so that was some other news, some other interesting news by the Dallas Mavericks. So he still owns the Tempo, and then he's also a GM now again by the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, who have a great start for their for their looming build. So yeah, Coach is here. I'm gonna tap in Coach. We're gonna get his thoughts real quick. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Um, yeah, I was just going through the different series. I decided, I promised someone that I would do a live either yesterday or today. So I said I'm gonna do a live today before it gets too late. Um, and then hopefully we actually are able to film at some point Basketball Rewind this weekend, but I'm not sure. We'll talk about that after. But I'm not sure your schedule. But in any case, real quick, your thoughts on the second round.
Well, haven't been able to watch too much of the second round. Now, I did check in a little bit of the Spurs and Timberwolves, and I see the
Mm.
Spurs. When I was watching, the Spurs were up 18-3 in the first, and then Minnesota came back, and I see the Spurs were up 6 again. And, you know, the
Yeah.
stars are showing out in that series. The Ant-Man's being the Ant-Man, and Wemby's being Wemby. And it's so tough to guard someone 7'5", who's mobile and can shoot and all that.
Yeah, I said that the second game that they played was like the Empire Strikes Back, where they blew up they practically blew up Hoth. Like they didn't actually blow up Hoth, but it was kind of like it was a whooping.
Yeah.
It wasn't looking great.
Yeah, and you know, the Knicks and Sixers is not shocking to me. Embiid
Yeah,
just can't be trusted, and I think this is a
no.
good matchup for the Knicks as well. And
OG went down, so there
he
is that.
did,
If they end up facing the Pistons, I still, as much as the Knicks have the depth, I think people are underestimating the Pistons.
yeah, I agree. Bridges was good for them tonight, though. He finally had a
He
good
was.
game. Brunson was Brunson, 11-22 from the field. Shamit gave the big minutes off the bench with 15 points. Cat didn't do anything tonight, 8 points.
Yeah, I have to go watch that game to see if they're just not involving Cat enough, or vice versa. But it doesn't seem like they are. I mean, he only had 8 shots, but he's not complaining about only getting 8 shots, unlike some.
Yeah. The series that I thought it was going to go the way that it has been so far is
The
our other
Pistons?
Eastern, the Pistons and the Cavs.
Yeah.
Harden just,
No, I told you, like, second round, everyone says first round. I'm like, no. It's the second round. It's when he starts just like, beep, boop, I've got this show. So, unplug. Yeah, no. He certainly does struggle at times in the second round. You see it. But also, like, they have a SAR on him, and, like, they have, like, different looks that they can throw at him that are. I was comparing their best defenders to our best defenders, where you have like say you wanted to toss on Holland and
Yeah.
Nassar, and it's like they're all those guys. Like when you include Scottie and CMB, they're all MB, all defense guys. Like that's all. That's all defense. Holland maybe not be there right now. CMB may not be there right now, just on paper, but like they're able to athletically give you that.
100%. And Tobias Harris has been fantastic in the playoffs.
Yes, I did say that he's been very consistent and been stringing together a lot of good great games, which has also helped Cade to kind of like be as efficient as he has been, but also credit to Cade for producing. But here's the thing, right? Like you look at it, those guys, the way that they defend Donovan Mitchell or James Harden is just so different than the way that we were defending them, because they're like physical in a different way where it's like you can't escape them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like there's no escape. It's just relentless. Like the way that Asar gets up there vertically is always so impressive. He just floats up there.
And the physicality in this, I mean, Cleveland was having problems with our front line of like
Pirtle. We are not the most physical team in the playoffs, by the way.
No, go up against Duran. That's a big difference than Pirtle. Go up against Beef Stew and not Mamu. There, right? I mean, there's a big difference. Like when
did you see the first game?
Player in that series, anyway, but. The first game of this playoffs?
For the Pistons, yeah.
I missed most of the game. I did see some of it.
Oh, man, there was like this one play where it was basically, I might actually pull it up on stream, but it was basically Duran, and he just had like 3 slams in a row. Maybe not in a row, but he had like 3 crucial like slams that were just fed by Cade, and it was just like that. Like at that point, it was pretty even, and that was like a turning point. It was like, no, you're not winning this. Like, we are taking this.
The Cavs are skilled offensively. There's no doubt. And not that they don't play hard defenses, they do. But when it gets down to the physical aspect of the game, there is no match for Detroit. What you got to put up with Duren and Beef Stew and Thompson.
Okay, so it basically was 3 dunks in a row in the fourth quarter, and it was like one at 450, one at 415, and one at 350. So that's like 3 in a row. I'm just gonna put it up on screen right now so we can watch this beautiful thing together.
Well, I had a conversation with a Cavs fan. They were ripping on us for losing, blah blah blah. I said, "Yeah, Pistons in 5," and I probably should have said 4. Should have said, but
well, it's not even like I'm trying to disrespect you. It's just like, listen, man, like you're not facing us anymore. So yeah, so this is Duren right here. I might actually hold on. Let me set this up. I'm gonna set these up for you, and then we'll watch them together.
Yeah,
we'll watch this beautiful plays together.
Detroit basketball. Beyond would like that.
Yes.
A resident Pistons fan.
Okay, so I have 2 up.
Cade was perfect from the free throw line too last game. 25 and 10, 8 of 8 from the field, or from the free throw line. 2 blocks as well.
Yeah, and he's going to the line, like you said, 8 times. It's been an impressive series for him. Okay.
Without question. He's been the guy.
Okay. So, I'm going to go back a little bit in this one. Cade's obviously getting a screen, running pick and roll with Duren. Duren, like, first of all, you see how quickly he just screens properly. Like, this is a big boy screen. Dean Wade not getting past this, right?
Look at his feet planted, knees bent.
Boom. Yep.
There's none of this little, I get a chip, I'm going to half shoulder hit you with the pick.
No. And here's the nice thing. He kind of throws him back. Obviously, like at a lower level, this would be called, but he throws him back, which causes him to kind of be side to side, but also behind Cade. So he can't quite get his hips back in line with Cade. So now Cade actually has a step on his defender. Cade comes down, boom, draws in Allen, hits with the wraparound. No fanciness, no nothing, just straight up basketball. Yeah. Boom, and that's it. Looks back. Thanks for handling business.
Well, here's the thing that I've come to realize a little bit. You don't need a center who can shoot threes. But if that center does not shoot threes, they got to be athletic.
That's the key. You need a dynamic center at some level. But ideally, if they can't, I'm not saying that you got to shoot threes, but you got to at least hit a 12-foot jumper. Ideally. I'm not saying Duren can, but that would be the ideal. Like if you could hit in this range right here, if you can hit a jumper right at the nail, that's perfect, right? And that will allow you to be a little less athletic, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cade.
Lay down, boom. Big boy slams.
I just remember when I watched Duren at Memphis in college, and I just saw this 17, 18-year-old kid with so much. He had the man's physique at that time. And I'm just like, oh, gosh, he could be a problem in the league if he develops.
Yes. Draws Allen in, kicks, and Cade also kind of hits him, but he also he's shielding Cade right here.
Yeah.
Boom. And that's a timeout for sure.
I would pick on Harden so much. I mean, the Raptors tried to a little bit, and they were fairly successful at doing so. But if you're Detroit with way more shooting weapons,
yeah,
it's just barbecue chicken, as Shaq says.
And this is just like good transition opportunity. Seals off Mobley in transition. Like, look at this. Look at this.
But look at the physicality.
He's ahead of him. And then he just seals him off like this. He's like, give me the ball.
Like, Duren's probably 270 pounds.
You see how he hung on that rim? He's like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you're saying 270
pounds.
No,
I'm just saying Duren's probably about 260, 270. What's Mobley? 220? 230? I bet you Duran's got a good 30 pounds on
There's a couple boxes of Wheaties between them for sure.
him. But then you got Beef Stew. Like Beef Stew is like 6'9" or 6'10". Like he might be shorter than Allen Mobley, but he's strong and physical, and that's
Yeah.
how you go at those guys.
Score update 102-100 Spurs and Timberwolves.
Oh, I feel like I should have it on.
You might have to. Yeah.
Let me see here. Oh yes.
Yeah. Wemby is 11 of 16 for 32 points, 13 rebounds. It was like 5 blocks.
Yeah. What do you do? What do you do with him? Right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I don't even know. I know the Pentagon released something about UFOs. You don't have to look that far. It's right here in front of us.
Right here in San Antonio.
That's an alien, folks. That's an alien.
That's the future of the league, face of the league, the real one.
Yes, no
Sorry,
doubt.
That's not a knock to what Darker said about Scottie. I'm just saying Wemby is the face of the league.
You just don't say those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we'll see. That's going to be a tight game. But yeah, I also said that I do think in some ways, because we didn't talk about the Lakers series, but like I said before, I'm like, it's going to be at best like a gentleman's sweep. Like, I'm sorry, but I do have the OKC Thunder like repeating.
Repeating? Yeah, I think I do too. I don't see, even if San Antonio pulls this off, Wemby will be a problem. But I just don't think San Antonio's quite there yet. But they got the talent to eventually get there. Harper's the real deal.
He is. But you know what OKC has? They have Chet.
They got Chet. They got iHeart.
They have a 7'3" guy, 7'4" guy of their own.
They're going to have like the 12th pick in the draft or whatever.
They have 2 picks. Could have the 12th and the 15th pick.
Lottery balls. Is it for sure they have the 15th pick, or is that depending on how the lottery?
I think the coin flip already happened. So because it's. Let me just double check. Hold on.
I want to see if it's set here. It's Philly's. Oh, Philly's pick goes to OKC.
So 17. So they have the 12th and the 17th pick. Sorry, my bad. I would call them and see if that 12th pick is available. That's all I'm saying. Because money wise, there is a monetary difference between those 2 picks.
Yeah,
our pick and theirs.
Charlotte's got 2 picks as well. They get 14 and 18.
Charlotte does have an interesting collection of picks, and they might be looking to get better. But yeah,
shout out to Tyler, who's at the combine.
Shout out to Tyler, who's on the combine. Hopefully, we can figure out the scheduling. I'm hoping. Well, I'll talk to you guys about it offline tomorrow. But I would like to nail down some scheduling with them again. And also, I do actually have 2. So folks who are watching this later on, because I don't think we have a lot of people watching right now, but I do have about 3, at least 2 draft talk videos coming up. So I'm gonna kind of get back to regularly scheduled programming. They will most likely be posted on Wednesdays at bare minimum. If we have additional stuff to kind of go through, expect something on like more like the Monday, maybe the Sunday, and then again, I'm gonna aim for Wednesdays is when I'm gonna start releasing them again. So I might get one out this weekend, but it depends on whether we do stuff. So yeah. But folks, I think that's it. I'm keeping Coach up. I'm keeping myself up as well.
I'm good.
Yeah, true. But we can also just watch the game and
we could. We also could do that.
So
we get a game here. So
we do have a game. So without further ado, I am going to call it on at least the stream end of things, and we can continue talking later, Coach. But folks, like, comment, subscribe. Check out Coach Roach's channel. Just type in Coach Roach. You will find him for sure.
Yes, looking to have a guest at some point. We're going to do called the Roach collab. That's
That
all
would
I'll
be
say right now.
that yeah, that would
We've
be
been, we've
that
been wanting to
sounds
do that at some point, but
looking forward to that. Looking
we're
forward to
looking
that.
to try to.
I would love to have a conversation with Mike Roach at some point myself as well. On Basketball
Yeah.
Rewind. So, but folks, take care and peace. All right, thanks, Coach.